Anna Kreacic, partner at Oliver Wyman and COO of the Oliver Wyman Forum, is joining me now. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, it's great. We have a great crowd here. You guys are here.
Great day. Great opening day.
It is a great opening day, but I want to talk to you more about this report. You know, it's called the New Growth Agenda. So what would you say the new is about? And I mean, shouldn't we expect CEOs to, prioritize growth?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's new is that we have a growth agenda in a very different, challenging environment, right? The trade winds have completely shifted over what we were dealing with over the last few decades. The economic environment in the U.S. certainly is strong, but it's nothing like the roaring 90s. And then, money is more expensive, even though we got some more good news this morning. AI, the transformation and the hype and all of the investment that's happening, a lot of difficult decisions to make there, and we're seeing differences between how large companies versus mid-cap or smaller companies are dealing with that. And then, of course, all of the geopolitical shifts where, you're seeing increased protectionism, you're seeing some of the playing fields shifting, and companies really having to realign their supply chain. So yes, CEOs have always had to focus on growth, but it's a very different environment. And what we're seeing them do now is, focus both on all of the kind of operating efficiency side, but have a lot of optimism around how to drive new growth, how to drive new revenue streams, and balancing that overall.
And, on the note of optimism, they were hugely optimistic about the growth of AI, the implementation of AI as it's at the forefront of so many different conversations. But why do you think that is?
The optimism around AI. I mean, I think they see it as another, not just big growth driver, but another way of dealing with some real problems that aren't just, cost cutting, which is what I think, many theorized at the beginning. We had a roundtable conversation this morning. Many of the industry CEOs have real challenges in finding the talent that they need. There are simply, one mentioned there's simply not enough accountants in Miami for what they need. And so what they're trying to do with AI is not just drive operating efficiencies for the sake of them, but really fill some gaps where we cannot, provide them with the resources that we have.
Given the results of the survey, how do you think from an investment standpoint, how should investors approach AI? I have to ask you the investment question. I mean, we are at the exchange.
We are at the exchange. Why don't I give you a personal, since I'm not a financial advisor, I'll give you a personal response based on, what I certainly saw in the 90s. So if in the 90s you had, made a bet that, on Ask Jeeves or Google or any of the search engines, you probably would have been wrong. 98% of the value went to Google. There were a gazillion search engines at the time. We're kind of in that early phase where we don't really know who the players are that are going to be successful with AI, but we know the infrastructure that's needed to power AI. We know the energy requirements, we know the data center requirements. And so, I think right now there are only some knowns that we can think about from an investment perspective and a lot of unknowns if you're willing to play the longer term game.
And CEOs, they're seeing a lot of opportunity when it comes to changing the customer demographic. So how do you read this?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've seen massive changes in customer demographics, especially coming out of COVID, because people were starting to change their behavior. They were valuing different things. They had different preferences. One CEO mentioned, I'm in the business of happiness. Lots of people want experiences. And that's absolutely true. But I think about two big groupings, particularly generationally. One is Gen Z, massive number of them entering the workforce and in the workforce, continuing to be a bigger player on the consumer side. And then what I call the silver economy, which is really people over 50. In the U.S., they're 37% of the U.S. population. They spend 57 cents of every dollar. Both are incredibly important. And so, trying to understand them a little bit more deeply, it was very positive for me to see that it was one of the top 3 things that CEOs are prioritizing, because I think the potential around the growth and the AI experience is really creating very seamless customer experiences with, the changes underway.
A lot of important information right there. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you.